This is Ryan Reagan, the founding partner of HKExcel. If you're watching this video right now, you're probably an IBDP student, right? So you're about to get into university. So the reason I'm making this video today is because university life is so much different from high school, right? I know a lot of IB students who go into university, they can't get used to university, and they somehow get depressed, right? And they're not productive at all in university. So I'm really making this video today because I want to tell you how is university life different from high school and how I believe you can better maximize your university career, how you can better survive in university, really, okay? Because I'm making this video because I know a lot of students are about to graduate and you're probably curious, what is university life like? How is university different? How should you prepare for it, right? So this is why I'm making this video today, okay? So I hope it helps you. Okay, so now let's first talk about how is university different from high school. The first difference is that there is absolutely no pressure for you to learn or no pressure for you to go to class at universities, in most universities. Because in most universities, you don't really need to go to lectures, okay? Lectures are full of people, like 100 people in a lecture, right? Even if you don't attend, nobody really knows, okay? So there's actually no pressure for you to go to class. If you don't want to go to class, you don't need to go to class, okay? Whereas in IB, obviously, if you ditch school, you'll get in trouble with your parents and with the authorities, right? So that's number one difference. There's no pressure for you to go to class. Number two, because the university community is so large, there are like tens of thousands of people normally in a university. It's so large that therefore it's very difficult for you to find a direction in university. Let's say in high school, it's quite clear what you have to do. You have to go to school, you need to get good grades, right? Most people think like that. And then let's say you might join a few sport teams, a few societies, and then you just focus on these things, right? It's very well planned out for you, right? The direction is quite clear and you have a schedule every day, right? So it's very easy for you to have a direction in high school because the authorities actually give you a direction. But in university, it is so different because nobody really cares about you. Like, you don't have counselors. You get teachers, like you have lecturers, but those lecturers don't even remember your name, right? So it's like nobody really cares about you. Maybe your friends would care about you, but nobody cares about whether you're achieving. Nobody cares about what you're doing. You can pretty much do whatever you want. If you wanted to, you can actually stay home 24 hours a day and never go to classes. As long as you can pass the exam, you would still graduate, right? So there's so much freedom in that. And because there's so much freedom, there's like zero, I think there's pretty much no peer pressure. Because in high school, I still remember there's some sort of peer pressure. Let's say, oh, if you want to get into a good university, you better join all these societies. You better run for the student council, right? That sort of thing. Or you better get better grades so you can get into university. But in university, there are all sorts of people. There are jocks, there are nerds, there are people who just want to start businesses, there are people who just want to earn money. There are all sorts of people, right? So it's like you don't really have a peer pressure. There isn't really peer pressure in my opinion. Like, you pretty much can do whatever you want. Okay, so now I've talked to you about how university is like. So now so what should you do to survive and thrive in university? Okay, so number one, what I believe you should do in university is you need to set goals. Set goals for your career. Maybe if you're very serious about studying, you should set goals about your grades, right? You have to set goals because, as I mentioned just now, you can pretty much do whatever you want in university. If you don't have goals, you would pretty much, eventually you would just stay at home all day and game if you're a lazy person. That's why you need to set very specific goals, right? So for example, when I was in year one, my goal was to get an internship in a company. My year two goal was to get into a good internship in a large company. And every day I work towards those goals. Because if you don't have any goals in university, you would wander around and you would pretty much waste all your time. Right, so that's why it's very, very important for you to set goals. Number two, I've noticed that some IB students, after they go to university, because in IB it's all about your grades, right? Like, everyone have to study very hard for your grades. But in university, actually, when you go into the job market, actually your grades aren't really that important. Like, they're important to a certain extent, okay? You need to have a good enough GPA to get a good job offer. But then grades are not everything. So that's why do not focus all of your energy on your grades when you go to university. I would say in IB probably you pay 90% of your focus on your grades, right? But when you go to university, if you want to get a good job, you should I guess spend about 60 to 70% on your grades, maybe even less, 60 to 50. All your other efforts you should spend on job hunting, you should spend on, enriching yourself, improving yourself, all these kinds of things, instead of just your grades, okay? Number 3 advice, I highly encourage you to start to develop some life skills in university. So how do you develop life skills? What are life skills? So for example, communication skills, your resilience, right? Like, these are all what we call soft skills, like your EQ, right? Like, for example, how you deal with other people, how you work with other people more effectively, how do you follow through on a project, these sorts of soft skills. So what's the best way, I believe, to develop these soft skills? You should read some books, okay? These books are never, some people call them self-development books, or some people call them self-help books. These kinds of books to help you develop your ability, to make you a more effective person at work and in life. These books are really going to help you, because if you want to stand out in the job market, or if you want to, be a successful person after university, you need these skills, right? So what are some books you can read? For example, like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, right? Or like, for example, what is another good book? Like, for example, How to Win Friends and Influence People. These sorts of books, like self-development books, can really go a long mile for you, okay? So yeah, so these are the tips I have for succeeding or making the most out of university. Hopefully this video gives you an idea how university is different from high school, okay? So now, if you're still in IB, I suppose getting good grades is still your priority, right? So if you want free resources, comment, you can go to the description and fill in those forms, okay? I look forward to seeing you next time, and if you think that this video helps you, please do comment in this video, so I know that people are watching this and I know that what people are thinking about this video.